You plug a laptop into any switch port in an office, and it gets on the network. DHCP hands out an address. Internet works, no problem for you. But what just happened from a security perspective? That laptop could belong to someone who shouldn't be on your network at all. The entire purpose of a network is connectivity, and that's exactly what makes it vulnerable. Every connection point is an entry for someone who doesn't belong there, and the most secure network, one with no doors or windows at all, would be useless. So how do you balance security and connectivity? That's what this chapter is about, and the CCNA tests 3 specific exam topics: Key Security Concepts under 5.1, Security Program Elements under 5.2, and 5.4 for passwords, AAA Concepts under 5.8, and Next Generation Firewalls and IPS under 1.1.c. Every security framework starts with the CIA triad. And no, this isn't about spies. It stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Think of it as the 3 things security is trying to protect. Confidentiality means only authorized people access your systems and data, like a locked door. Integrity means the data you read is trustworthy, hasn't been tampered with, like a sealed envelope. And availability means authorized people can actually use the system when they need it, not just locked away, but also running. Every attack you'll see in this chapter targets one or more of these 3 goals, and every security solution protects them. When you're studying for the exam, always ask yourself, which part of CIA does this attack break? Which one does this solution protect? That single question will carry you through most security questions. Now, no system is perfectly secure. Not even one unplugged from the network. Someone with physical access to your devices can still compromise them. So, we need 3 terms that are related but distinct, and the exam specifically tests these. Under 5.1, vulnerability is any potential weakness, like a window in your house. An exploit is what someone uses to take advantage of that weakness, the rock they throw through it. And a threat is the real possibility someone will actually do that, an intruder who intends to use that rock. Mitigation is what you put in place to stop it. Metal bars over the window, for example. In networking terms, DHCP has vulnerabilities that can be exploited with specific tools by a malicious user. And mitigation techniques, like DHCP snooping, protect against those threats. Let's talk about what actually happens to networks, starting with denial of service. A DOS attack tries to make a system or network unusable. It attacks availability in the CIA triad. The classic example is a SYN flood. An attacker floods a server with TCP SYN messages. The server replies to each one and adds them to its connection table. But the final ACK never comes. The server's TCP connection table fills up with half-open connections and can't accept real users anymore. If the attack comes from a botnet, hundreds of infected devices all attacking at once, it's called DDoS. Distributed, much harder to stop. Spoofing is falsifying identity, using a fake source IP or MAC address. SYN floods use spoofed IPs, so the server's replies go nowhere, and DHCP exhaustion attacks send countless discover messages with spoofed MAC addresses until the server runs out of IP addresses entirely. Legitimate clients can't get on the network at all. That's both a spoofing attack and a DOS. Reflection attacks take it further. The attacker sends requests to third-party servers, using the victim's IP address as a fake source, so those servers send responses flooding back to the target. When small requests trigger big responses, like with NTP or DNS, It's called amplification, and the target gets overwhelmed by traffic from innocent-looking servers. Man-in-the-middle attacks intercept communications between two parties without either one knowing. ARP poisoning is the classic example. An attacker sends malicious ARP replies to both a PC and its router, overwriting their correct MAC address mappings, so all traffic between them flows through the attacker first. The attacker can read everything, modify it on the fly, and neither party has any idea something's wrong. Reconnaissance isn't really an attack. It's gathering information for a future one. Open Source Intelligence, or OSINT, means using publicly available data. WHOIS lookups reveal domain owner emails and phone numbers. No hacking required, just information that anyone can collect if they know where to look. Malware covers several types of malicious software, and the exam expects you to know these. A virus attaches itself to legitimate programs. It needs someone to run the infected file and spreads through shared files. A worm is self-propagating. It exploits software vulnerabilities to spread across networks without any human interaction. A Trojan horse disguises itself as legitimate software, usually delivered through email attachments or malicious websites. A backdoor gives unauthorized access to an infected computer, often installed by a Trojan first, and ransomware encrypts files and demands payment, typically in cryptocurrency, to decrypt them again. Most malware relies on human intervention, opening attachments, visiting bad sites, so the defense is simple. Don't open things you're unsure about. Password attacks are pretty straightforward, but worth knowing for the exam. Dictionary attacks run through lists of common passwords. Brute force tries every possible combination, and both become much harder when your password is long enough. The key protection? Password length and complexity directly reduce the feasibility of brute force attacks exponentially. Social engineering is hacking people, not computers, and it's often the weakest link. Phishing sends deceptive emails pretending to be trustworthy entities, tricking people into clicking links or giving credentials. Spear phishing targets specific employees of a company. Whaling goes after executives like the CEO. Smishing comes through text messages, and vishing happens over phone calls. Pretexting creates a fabricated scenario, like someone calling from IT and asking you to reset your password through their link. And tailgating, or piggybacking, is physical. Someone just follows an authorized person through a restricted door. All of these exploit human psychology: authority, courtesy, urgency, reciprocity. People want to help. They trust people in charge. And when someone creates a sense of urgency, you act without thinking. Defending against social engineering means three things. The exam calls these security program elements under 5.2: user awareness, training, and physical access control. User awareness isn't formal training. It's things like sending fake phishing emails to employees and telling them who fell for it, keeping security top of mind. Training is more formal. Mandatory sessions on corporate policies and how to recognize threats. Physical access control keeps unauthorized people out of restricted areas. Badge readers on doors, security cameras monitoring who's where. Badges are better than keys because you can revoke access instantly when someone leaves the company. And for really sensitive areas, multi-factor authentication, like a badge plus fingerprint scan. Now let's talk passwords properly, because the exam tests this under 5.4, management, complexity, and alternatives, including MFA, certificates, and biometrics. Strong passwords are at least 15 characters, with upper and lowercase letters, numbers, symbols, unique to each account, not guessable from public information. And yes, you should use a password manager like Bitwarden. It generates and stores complex, unique passwords for every account, autofills them to defeat keyloggers, and encrypts everything. The old advice about changing passwords regularly is actually falling out of favor. If a password hasn't been compromised, there's no benefit to changing it. And forcing regular changes makes people reuse passwords from other accounts. Change when there's a breach or you find malware, not on a schedule. On Cisco iOS devices, and this is something the exam tests directly, you need to store passwords as hashes, never clear text. The enable password command stores in clear text. Type 0, not acceptable at all. Here, service password encryption uses weak reversible encryption. Type 7, also unacceptable, because free online tools decrypt it instantly. You should always use enable secret, which hashes the password using a secure algorithm. Modern devices default to script. Type 9, but you can specify the algorithm with enable algorithm type plus the algorithm name, then secret and password. The NSA recommends type 8, which is SHA-256, but Cisco recommends type 9 script. And here's a key exam detail. If you want to configure an already hashed password on another device, the syntax is enable secret type hash. So for script, it would be enable secret 9, followed by the hash string. Passwords alone are a vulnerability. If someone learns one, they're in. That's why multi-factor authentication is the standard now. MFA requires multiple forms of authentication from different categories, and there are 3 main ones. Knowledge, something you know like a password or PIN. Possession, something you have, like an ID badge, smartphone receiving push notifications, or a Google Authenticator app generating one-time codes. The third category is inherence, something you are, like biometrics, fingerprint, facial recognition, retinal scan. Both password and PIN count as knowledge, same category, so that's not true MFA. True MFA uses factors from different categories: badge plus fingerprint, or password plus an SMS code on your phone. The exam tests being able to categorize authentication methods into these 3 groups, so make sure you can do that. Digital certificates are authentication for websites. They prove a website is who it says it's not impersonated. Certificate authorities, or CAs, issue and verify these certificates. Think of them as passport offices for the internet. When you visit a site, your browser checks its certificate with a trusted CA and connects via HTTPS if it's valid. In Chrome, the padlock next to the URL means a valid certificate is in place, and your connection is secure. AAA, pronounced AAA, stands for Authentication, Authorization, and Accounting. It's the framework for controlling user access in a network under Exam Topic 5.8, and you need to know the differences between these 3 clearly. Authentication is verifying identity. Who are you? Ideally done with MFA. Authorization grants access after authentication. What are you allowed to do? Which files, which services, which iOS commands? And accounting tracks everything. What did you do? Every action logged for audits and troubleshooting. AAA needs a centralized server. Cisco's is called Identity Services Engine, or ISE, and the 2 main AAA protocols are Radius and TACACS Plus, both open standards now, though TACACS Plus was Cisco's original creation. The key differences: Radius combines authentication and authorization into one operation called access request. while TACAX Plus keeps all three components completely separate for more granular control. Radius uses UDP on ports 1812 and 1813. TACAX Plus uses TCP port 49 point. Radius only encrypts passwords. The rest is clear text, while TACAX Plus encrypts everything. Radius typically controls network access, and TACAX Plus controls device administration with per-user command-level granularity. 802.1x is port-based network access control. It locks down switch ports so unauthorized devices can't just plug in and get on the network. When a device connects, the port stays locked until authentication succeeds. Only 802.1x traffic is allowed. 3 components. The supplicant is the client device wanting to connect. The authenticator is the switch it plugs into, and the authentication server, usually Radius, verifies credentials. It uses Extensible Authentication Protocol, or EAP, for the process, with Radius typically handling credential checking. 802.1x works for both wired and wireless access control, though we'll go deeper in Chapter 20. Firewalls, the device most associated with network security, even though CCNA focuses on routers and switches. Stateless firewalls like ACLs examine each packet independently. No context, just permit or deny per packet. But most modern firewalls are stateful. They track connections and allow reply traffic for outbound initiated sessions. So if a host inside the network connects to google.com, the firewall lets the reply through, but blocks unsolicited inbound traffic from outside. Firewalls also use zones: inside for your private network, outside for the internet, and a DMZ, so demilitarized zone, where you put public-facing servers that need internet access without exposing your internal network. Next-generation firewalls, or NGFWs, exam topic 1.1.c. Build on stateful packet filtering with advanced features. The big one is application visibility and control. Instead of just looking at ports and addresses, the firewall inspects packet contents to identify what application is actually using them, similar to NBAR from Chapter 10 point. NGFWs integrate with anti-malware, like Cisco's AMP, to inspect files, and they include built-in intrusion prevention system, or IPS, functionality. An IPS uses attack signatures, patterns downloaded from Cisco's Talos threat intelligence team, to detect and block malicious traffic. It also builds a baseline of normal activity and flags anomalies that don't match it, protecting against DOS attacks, malware, reconnaissance scans, and SQL injections. For the exam, you don't need to memorize every feature. Just understand that NGFW means stateful filtering plus IPS, anti-malware, and deep application inspection on top.